Hi, my name is Turner Vitipka, and I'm going to be doing a SWOT analysis on Faith Christian School in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. SWOT analysis stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Alright, so the first question we need to ask is, what is Faith Christian School? Faith Christian School is a small private Christian school, high school, elementary school, and middle school, or I guess elementary, middle school, high school, here in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. And basically they are one of two small Christian schools here in Rocky Mount, and they offer sports, they offer Christian curriculums, and they are mediumly priced in between two other private schools. Alright, so strengths that Faith Christian has going for them. They have great facilities, very, very sharp facilities, a lot of land, sporting, the great tennis courts, a basketball gym, all of an elementary school, middle school, and high school. They have baseball fields, soccer fields, a lot of great facilities. They have strong leadership. They have very good principals at all three schools. They have a great headmaster. They have very sound spiritual people, but they also have people who are willing to take pay cuts to be able to come there and work because they believe in what they do. And I think that's very important. I think that's a great strength to have. They have Christian curriculum. I think that's a strength because it's a differentiation from other schools, like public schools and these other private schools, because the private schools just offer just regular school curriculums, whereas they actually offer Bible classes and such. And so it differentiates them a little bit. Their location is great. It's slightly out of the city, but it's not far from where people actually live, so they're not having to drive away from their homes too far in order to drop their kids off to go to this private school. They have great sporting programs. They have a couple of teams who have actually won state championships. They have good coaches. They offer all the sports, whereas some of the other private schools actually don't offer several sports. And one private school that actually is their closest competition doesn't offer any sports. So that's another differentiation for them, going for them. They have dedicated teachers. The teachers who come work for them know that they're not going to get paid as much as they would if they went and worked the public school system, but they're still dedicated to what they know and love about the whole program that Faith Christian is running. And I think, yet again, that's super important to have. And then they also offer K through 12, and I think that's huge because most private schools can offer that, but I think that's a strength for them because it opens up the door for them to actually allow in more people and not just be just a high school or just a middle school, which differentiates them from public school systems. Weaknesses. The weaknesses that they have are that they're semi-expensive. They cost about $11,000 a year, which isn't crazy, but like the other ones in the area was one more expensive, and there's one that only costs about $7,000. So they are more expensive than some of the other schools, and especially the public schools, which are free. They have a relatively small campus, so right now all their buildings cannot hold a ton of students if there's a large amount that actually wanted to come there, which kind of gives it an exclusivity, but I also think it keeps them from being able to make the real profit, be able to pay their teachers at a full amount and hire more people. They do not have much diversity at all. They're primarily white kids, which, hate to say it, but a lot of private schools are that way. And so I think they do have some diversity, just not a ton. I think that's something that really hurts them, is that they don't have a lot of diversity. And then they also have low teacher pay. So they can't attract always the best teachers, but I do think the teachers they do have are dedicated to what Faith Christian has because they're willing to be there for the pay. But I think if they could pay more also, it would bring in even more teachers. So I think that is a weakness for them. See, opportunities. The land to expand their campus. They actually do have a lot of land. They just haven't utilized it all yet. They have a lot of things on the land they have so far, but they have more room to actually expand, and I think that could be helpful for them. The other opportunities are to reach out to churches nearby. There are more churches planting in the area, and so therefore there's going to be more Christians, and Christians look for Christian schools usually. And so that's an opportunity for them to be able to reach out and get kids who go to those churches. Local teachers retiring. I think that's an opportunity because when teachers retire from the public school system, they sometimes still want to keep working, and sometimes they want to go teach in these private schools where they're not quite as regulated, but they also have their pension and retirement pay. And so, therefore, they don't have to make as much money, but they can still enjoy the work hours of a teacher. And I think that's actually a really big opportunity for these private schools and this Faith Christian in particular to reach out and be like, hey, come teach for us now that you don't need as much money. And then they could start recruiting athletes. They run solely based off of just whoever comes to school, but a lot of small private schools tend to recruit athletes to build their sports programs to draw more attention and get more money. I think that's an opportunity they could partake in. And then freedom of curriculum, I'm sure they do this some with their Christian curriculum, but since they're not regulated by the government or anything like that, they have total freedom of what they can teach in their school. And so therefore, they should pursue things that draw more students in, like STEM classes and coding classes and various classes of that sort that are going to be different from what the public school system is actually teaching. And then threats. They have other school options. You got public school. In the local area, there's one called the New Life Christian School, which is the cheaper one, but they don't have sports or anything like that. Then you have Rocky Mount Academy, which is much more expensive. It's almost $20,000 a year for a kid. So they also have good sports and everything, but they're not a Christian school. Then there's a Rocky Mount Prep School, which is a preparatory school, and that is partly government funded, partly privately funded. So they have some freedom as well. And then, so you have all these different school options, and then you have homeschooling as well, which is another option. And those 5 different options are all threats to Faith Christian because they're all competing with them. Cheaper school options is definitely one, whereas you got public, homeschooling, and the New Life Christian School. They're all cheaper than Faith Christian. And so that's somewhat a threat to them. And then parents stop sending their kids there. That's always a threat to private schools because public schools are government funded. Private schools are based off of people wanting to come there. And so if people stop wanting to come there, that is a threat to them to lose their base of pay when they need people to come there to pay to be there. And then they become government regulated. And I say that's a threat because with things looking like there's a possibility of socialism kicking in, the government's going to want to regulate every aspect of education as well. And I think that could leak into private schools somewhat from what I've read. And I think that's a possible threat. I'm not saying that's a huge one, but that is a possible threat where they lose their ability to teach something different. And that's a big bonus for them right now. All right, so those are the major strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities and threats of Faith Christian School. Thank you, and I look forward to talking to you later on.